Hey there, YouTubers. Frankie Day, back again on YouTube. Okay, fellas, today on YouTube, I have another collection of the builds of my past. This is a scratch-built model of the Grumman G22, known as Major Al Williams Grumman GulfHawk 2. Back in the glamorous days of the 1930s, a lot of people were inspired in aviation, because aviation came out very much in the 1930s. It was a very colorful age for aviation. There was barnstormer pilots. New aircraft was coming off the drawing boards. A lot of folks had surplus aircraft that they used during the that were actually post-World War I aircraft that were used as expedition planes. In the late 1940s, right after the Second World War, this aircraft was owned by the Grumman Aircraft Company. What it is here, the Grumman GulfHawk is a converted F-3, F-1 naval biplane fighter that was used right before prior World War II. This aircraft, in general, was taken to Grumman Aircraft Company. It was modified with a new cowling, it had a 9-cylinder Wright Cyclone engine, given the ship 1,200 horsepower. The wingspan was reduced from 32 feet to 28 feet for aerobatics. So originally the wings of this aircraft was clipped to 28 feet instead of the traditional 32 feet that was used on the F-3F. Major Alfred Williams was a retired Marine aviator from World War I and World War II, and he was actually the pilot of this aircraft, and more or less maintained the aircraft and flown this aircraft worldwide. And yours truly right here has been aboard this airplane, has met Alfred Williams in person, and I have his autograph, signed autograph and everything. This airplane was used as expedition and dive bombing and aerobatics, because after the World War II, a lot of people out there were interested in the concept of dive bombing and aerobatics and everything else, and this aircraft seemed to fit the bill. It's a very colorful airplane in its abundance color of Gulf orange, with white and blue sunburst trim on top of the wings, and also the tail feathers were the same. This model was built off the Cleveland designed model plans. It's sketch built made out of paper, wood, and aluminum. The landing gear is functional on this airplane right here. I didn't show it functional on the YouTube. I saw that set on top of my cardboard painting mat that I used. This aircraft has a wingspan of 21 inches, and the model is actually 1/18 scale. And there's different scales that come from the plans. You can have anywhere from 1/8 plans to 3/4 of an inch plans, up to 1/18 plans. So I got these 1/18 plans running a wingspan of 21 inches. The Grumman GulfHawk was used as I say, as an expedition aerobatic biplane. Right over here is an Accurate Miniatures 1/48 scale Grumman GulfHawk. This is a limited kit. They don't make too many of these. They made so many of them, that's it. You'll never find any more of these little small GulfHawks, folks. If you find any, there's a good chance you can find them on eBay. That's a 1/4 inch scale, so you see how small that 1/4 inch scale is compared to her big sister. I met Alfred Williams at Point Mugu Naval Air Station in 1949. I was 9 years old, and there was a host of World War II airplanes that were used out there as also. And by 1950, this airplane was retired to the Smithsonian Institution in Washington, D.C., and used to be on a ground display. And back in the 1980s, they revamped the airplane and retracted the landing gear and hung it up on top of the overhead. So back in the 1950s, anybody who's ever been to the Smithsonian Institute, the Smithsonian Institute is nothing but blocks and blocks of institutions. It has Maritime Institution, it has United States Navy, Marines, the Army, the Army Corps of Engineers. It has it all there. And years ago, back in the 1950s and 60s, it was all one big building. So this airplane was housed in a big building along with the Charles Lindbergh Spirit of St. Louis, the old Ryan N1 Bell plane. and also with the original Kitty Hawk. That was the first in flight, a Kitty Hawk. And this is a big scale airplane. It's got a lot of cockpit detail in it. Control surfaces work, ailerons work, the rudder works, stabilizer works, landing gear retracts, canopy slides. It does everything like that as the old monogram 1/32 scale. I have one of those tucked away in my box of goodies somewhere down below. So this is all scratch built, fellas, using the plans. Cleveland makes the best model plans I've ever dealt with. When I was a boy introduced in the model aviation, my father always bought me Cleveland kits. They're all balsa wood kits. Edward T. Packer was getting ill and everything, so he let his son Donald take over the company. Cleveland kits cannot be bought no more, folks. Their plans can be bought from ClevelandAirAndDesigns.com. And they have different scales of plans. Very highly detailed plans. Edward Packard was one hell of an architect, fellas. This guy did everything. And there you go. You see my Grumman GulfHawk Active Miniatures one next to the big GulfHawk. And the Grumman GulfHawk right here was a very colorful airplane for its time, with this brilliant Gulf orange and blue with white trim. It sets the bill. And you can see the landing gear there, the workings of the landing gear. That top folio step right there pulls right in and it pulls the landing gear up into the wheel wells. There's a handle too that's on the right side of the console right there, the control console, which the pilot used. He cranks it up 29 times. He cranks up the landing gear. These airplanes didn't have hydraulic system or electric system back in those days. Everything, same thing as a Wildcat. It was all cranked up by hand. And then you locked them up, you lowered them, you pull out your lock tab, and you lower them down by hand. But as caution must be met when you lower your landing gear. There's been a lot of problems with landing gear when you trip on that lock. You make sure you don't engage that crank handle. You don't engage that crank handle, it'll free spin on you. Landing gear go down with gravity, and it snaps off from the oleo. Then the landing gear is actually ruined. So evidently this is old-fashioned retractable landing gear they used in those days. So everything back from there on was hydraulic. And we back off. I'm getting Hanson George might be over there. My yours truly may give you a little thumbs up in a few minutes. Okay, right after this, folks, I got my USS George Washington Ballistic Submarine SSNB sale number 598. I'll show a build report on that tonight. So Monday I'm going to start on Speedy's 197 1960 aircraft. Now, you got to remember, folks, on his group build, it's not all jets here. It's this prop-driven aircraft, too. So there's a lot of prop aircraft out there. Like the Herky Bird was a good one to use back in the 60s. The Goonie Bird was good. The DC-6 Cloudmaster was good. The C-124 was, it was phased out by 1961, so the Glowmaster, it'll still fit. So there's a lot of prop-driven aircraft. 80 Sky Raider, that was another good one too that they used. The Hawkeye E-28 Hawkeye was good. The Grumman S-2F, the Stoof, the Hunter Killer, that was the good. AJ-1 Savage was a good one. Prop-driven aircraft. There's a lot of one out there, folks, including flying boats too. The P-5M Marlin is a good example of prop-driven aircraft. Yeah, the prop turns that too. I forgot to mention that, fellas. And it's a beefy airplane. It's a big size airplane. And the big scale of 1/18 scale is a big size airplane, so it's pretty favorable in scales. And so this actually here concludes the builds of the past, featuring my Grumman GulfHawk G22 model. There's yours truly right there, a thumbs up. You got my sign of approval, fellas. Another build of the past. I'll have another one for you tomorrow. I got some good ones coming up, fellas. So I think maybe y'all want to take a look at this old GulfHawk right here I done. And I built this model, I'd say about 40 something years ago. I don't know if it's 45 years ago or 50 years ago. I know I was the Navy when I built this thing. I sent away from the plans and kind of built aboard ship and tankered a little bit, and what's left I couldn't do to prevent breakage. I sent it away home in the box. When I got home, I more or less kind of finished it up here and there. Airplane is completely airbrushed, using orange paint. I would not recommend using Tester's International Orange. You got to mix your own. You got to mix a lot of yellow with a hint of red, and that's it. You got it right there, folks. Okay, guys, this concludes my builds of the past right here. I have another one for you tomorrow, so stay tuned for my update build report on my ballistic submarine USS George Washington. I have that going on there, and Monday I'll start on Speedy's group build, and we'll get going from there. So you fellas all take care, boys. Bye. Take care, guys. God bless you all. Happy modeling, and take care. And we'll see you on the next YouTube presentation. Bye, boys. Take care, fellas.